So, I want you to picture something real quick. Imagine that you're a young girl named Badeline, and you've been having a rough time in the real world, dealing with your anxiety, depression, and self-doubt. You're a sincere girl who loves her family and friends, but you can't help but feel that there's something dark brewing deep within you that you just can't seem to place your finger on. So what do? You hear about this place called Celeste Mountain, and you promise to yourself, I'm going to climb to the top of that thing. At first, it goes well. You meet a sarcastic and kinda jokester granny who doubts your ability to climb the mountain. But you shove her words to the side and keep trekking. Oh, I can climb on things? That's cool. Wait, I can jump and dash in the air? Even better. Wait, is that a strawberry? Let me get it. Ugh, I just died. Ugh, I just died again. Yay, I did it. Wait, which way do I go now? How many extra rooms does this fountain have? What am I gonna do? Where do I go? Where's my mom? Where's my friends? I shouldn't have gone to this stupid mountain in the first place. What was I thinking? I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't. I could go for hours talking about how Celeste's lessons in mindfulness and dealing with the self are so poignant and perfectly told, but I'm going to try my best and talk about the main points where Celeste just hits so different in its topics of mental health, especially as a person who has dealt with anxiety and insecurity and even still deals with it to this day. Of course, I think we can all agree that the main relationship to be focused on through the lens of mindfulness in the game is that with Badeline. I cannot tell you how much I love and relate to this depiction of hostile anxiety within the self. When you first meet Badeline, she comes across as cutting and just plain mean. But it's tough to notice sometimes in her harsh tone and demeanor, but she actually tries to sprinkle in those tidbits of worry over what you're trying to do. Right before she chases you, she tries to lightly convince you that we do need a hobby and that climbing a mountain isn't it, though, and we should try to be reasonable here. I love this because this is exactly how anxiety operates, especially within myself. And look, I just want to provide a quick disclaimer that I am no psychologist nor therapist. I'm just speaking from experience with my own mental health. Anxiety has always had a way of trying to quote-unquote rationally talk me down from partaking in risky endeavors. Depending on the risk and your progress towards that risky goal, your anxiety will make efforts to protect you from getting hurt by mentally giving you things such as insecurity, doubt about achieving the goal, and thoughts of second-guessing your own capabilities and not being good enough. Notice how Badeline's attempts at steering you away from your goal mentally get more aggressive throughout the game. It starts with some quick jabs towards your self-confidence about being able to climb Celeste Mountain, and a little chase after, which, oh my lord, did that increase my anxiety. This results in her knocking you back to the beginning of the level as soon as you give in to the self-doubt when Badeline says, I was thinking the same thing. But a little more hope and comfort starts to settle in once you meet Theo, who is basically just this really chill dude who seems like he's made peace with his own anxieties and demons, as well as your mom, who we see the first indication of Badeline's history of having panic attacks when she calls her at the end of the old site level. This scene honestly made me tear up a little bit and made me think about how if I ever became a parent, I just want to be like Badeline's mom. Someone to remind you of your breathing and calmness when anxiety kicks into overdrive. And we'll definitely dive into the mindfulness of breathing in a bit. The struggles with Badeline and anxiety increase as you decide to help out Oshiro in cleaning out his resort, which Badeline, and even Theo to a degree, try to convince you not to. Oshiro has anxiety and insecurity about his resort, and badly wants you to stay due to his own loneliness and obsession, but it causes the mean-spirited Badeline to call him things like pathetic and a loser. I also love this because the mind has a way of wanting to turn on people in hurtful ways when in a state of distress and panic. This was the perfect moment for the anxious mind of Badeline to say, "See? I told you so. This is why you need to listen to me every time I speak. It's in your best interests and safety, because look at how crazy and weird Oshiro wound up being." It's such a tricky tactic of Badeline, but I love that it's used, because it is one of the mechanisms of the mind that strengthens self-doubt for future decisions and risk-taking toward goals. And with that, we get to one of the most raw and intense moments of the game when it comes to anxiety. Can I just applaud Celeste real quick for putting an almost perfectly represented panic attack in their game? I'm sure there may have been other games who have done this, but I feel like it's something that developers are afraid to touch upon due to the discomfort of experiencing it. But Celeste really embraces it here. Badeline's anxiety manifests itself in the physical form for the first time here, once the gondola's lever breaks off. You can see the build-up to this even before Theo accidentally breaks it. She starts getting worried about the thinness of the air, the near invisibility of the ground below her through the clouds, the shaking of the gondola on the way up, and the icing on the cake being the lever break. Now, remember what I said about anxiety making you turn on people in hurtful ways? Well, she does that with Theo, and blames him for choosing to ride this stupid thing. I love how Theo handles this though, in not lashing back out at her as he notices her voice get much squeakier, indicating her panic attack settling in. Theo realizes this, and being a person who knows Badeline, and who has probably dealt with these mental issues before, knows that it's the anxiety talking, not Badeline. As Badeline approaches on the gondola and summons the dark tentacles to represent Badeline's fear and tightening chest, we get to one of my favorite lessons in mindfulness in the game: the breath. Theo teaches Badeline a breathing trick to keep the feather up by breathing in and out. I'm sorry, but is one of the most practical and simple practices in meditation really being implemented in a video game? Am I in heaven right now, or is this just one of the best games ever? Anyways, the screen turns blacker and quieter as Badeline continues to breathe. This is a practice done in meditation in trying to quiet the mind, especially during times of distress. When I've gone on meditation retreats before, I have been able to get in such a state with this practice where it feels like you are simply your breath. And I'd imagine that is exactly what Badeline is experiencing here. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth is a way of reminding your physical body to come back into itself and out of your mind. Focus on what's real and not what is being fabricated by Badeline. God, I love this game. But notice how I said that this is a great technique for the physical body and, to a degree, your mind as well. But it does have limits. Remember this. Badeline then starts to fight against her anxiety in Badeline in the Mirror Temple, when she is wondering why she is working against her. And Badeline, not being able to communicate her true feelings, like the embodiment of anxiety that she is, becomes defensive at all of the negative parts of what Madeline is telling her. This inner butting of heads leads to the first initial thoughts of Madeline just wanting to get rid of Badeline entirely and making the climb without her. After the temple and a long, thoughtful talk with Theo about each other's pasts and inner demons, Madeline flies up to the sky and finally confronts and tries to have a meeting of the minds with the anxious and doubtful part of herself, Badeline. Warning, this is officially my favorite part of the game when it comes to mindfulness and introspection in dealing with your inner self. Just wanted to put that out there. After both agreeing that the sky looks beautiful and the northern lights, Madeline proceeds to tell Badeline that she doesn't need her anymore and that she wants to get rid of her. Even though it is said in a peaceful way without harmful intention, Badeline is resisting and taking some slight offense to what Madeline is saying she has been trying to protect her and is confused as to why she wants to be gotten rid of. But no worries, Madeline reassures her that she simply wants to set her free and that this will be better for the both of them. And that is the end of Celeste. Thanks everybody for watching. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe button, leave a comment. Oh, wait, what? Excuse my language here, I fucking loved this. I'll be honest, I was scared that the game was going to resolve everything after Madeline wanted to part ways, but I am so glad that it didn't. Anxiety does not simply go away by trying to get rid of it. It is an active part of yourself that is trying to look out for your best interests in its own way. And Badeline reacts exactly how an anxious mind would in this situation. Anxiety will literally climb out of its text box, not to be gotten rid of due to its inherent defensive and aggressive nature, and the fact that it is a part of yourself. And remember when I said that the breathing technique can only go so far to help in certain situations? Well, Madeline attempts to try the feather breathing technique again in this situation, but the inner strife is too deep and heavy that Badeline cuts the feather in half, because focusing on the breath in this situation was just a means to distract Madeline from the intense battle with her inner self, not a means to resolve it. As Badeline gets scarier and angrier, Madeline begins to cower to her words and begs her just to calm down, a very accurate depiction of how the mind can truly be your own scariest enemy. Or at least, that's how we're tempted to view it when these traumatic situations occur. This leads to the rock bottom point of the game, both literally and figuratively, as you dive deep into a pool of water. You fall to the depths of the mountain after making so much progress, and Madeline is at her lowest point mentally after what just occurred. You meet the granny again, and she continues to troll you like she has all game about not making it to the top of the mountain. But there's something different this time. She admits to you that she's seen a lot of kids climb this mountain, and that she thought Madeline would be the one to make it. And I love this quote from the granny when Madeline asks why she thought she could make it. And the granny replies that she has never seen someone so angry at themselves. This just encapsulates everything about the themes on dealing with the self, both the good and bad parts of it. Upon hearing this, the determination of Madeline perseveres in trying to find herself, as she actively tries to seek out Badeline and chases her down after Badeline threatens to dig her down deeper into darkness. But Badeline becomes scared of the fact that Madeline is trying to reach out and touch her, and this is how anxiety operates. Ugh, I love this game. And as a quick point, I just want to bring to light the subversion of their relationship here. Notice how at the beginning of the game, Badeline was chasing Madeline as a means of fear and how Madeline was letting her anxiety control her. And now Madeline is in control and chasing down Badeline, or anxiety. Anxiety's weakness is being confronted and reached out to. Since the anxious mind does not want you to try and talk to it, accept it, set boundaries with it, etc. It simply wants to control your thoughts and protect you in any way that it can from taking risks, even if those risks can benefit you mentally and emotionally toward development. It hates healthy communication and peacemaking, but with enough effort and compassion, it can coexist. And notice how when Madeline finally approaches Badeline after her chase, Badeline, aka Anxiety's true nature starts to reveal itself. She's scared. She's insecure. She's sad. She even submits to being forgotten and discarded if that's what Madeline truly wants. And Maddie finally understands the key to making peace with the self, and that is that you cannot get rid of your anxious mind. You also can't let it control and dictate you. It is simply a part of yourself that you need to be patient, compassionate, but clear with in terms of the boundaries and coexisting. You have each other in this life, and you both have your ways of trying to protect the other, and it may not be perfect, and it may take some time, but you both love each other and want the best. So why not try and love yourself? The mindfulness in Celeste then reaches its pinnacle, with Madeline and Badeline both becoming one to try and reach the summit, which, as we know, results in getting a double dash power, exemplifying how the mind becomes stronger once you decide not to resist against it, but rather work with it. Another component that I love about this climb to the summit is the little dialogues in between each part of the mountain climb. Badeline still has doubts and fears about climbing in between each mini-level, and this perfectly represents how anxiety never truly goes away or gets ridden of, and it doesn't even meld perfectly with yourself when you think that you've made complete peace with it. This does not happen overnight, and it may not even happen over a lifetime. But what Madeline does is reassure her that they can do this. And I think the thing that I love the most in what Madeline says, man, I might need a tissue for this, is that it is okay if they don't make it to the top of the mountain. Because it wasn't really about the physical top of Celeste Mountain to begin with. It was the mental mountain of coming to terms and peace with the darkest part of yourself and living in unity with your anxiety. And once you finally reach the top, this might be my second favorite part of mindfulness within the game, Badeline explains how she won't be in this physical form anymore once they leave the mountain. And this is the moment that perfectly encapsulates Badeline as both a character and a part of Madeline's self. She is scared. This signifies how deep inner change like this is not easy at all. Madeline even admits that she is scared to leave too, since she knows that her mentality and mind will not be the same after going through this healing process. And this is what Celeste gets so right about the process of inner healing. It's painful, it's uncomfortable, it can even cut deep, since you are changing parts of your inner being that have remained in place for so long, have caused so much unnecessary suffering. And letting go of this is hard because it has been ingrained as normal for so long. But Madeline's frame of mind is how to deal with this pain perfectly. It's not about, and never was about, letting go of Badeline. It's about reassuring her and your mind that you will always have each other inside of you, and developing such an intimate relationship with your inner self to the point of being sad about it, being sad about not seeing each other physically anymore, is such a great way to lay out the blueprint of how to love yourself. And that is what this story is about. Look, I know that people love the difficulty of this game, and the art, and the music, and I think it goes without saying that all of those aspects of the game are perfect, and go along with the themes of the story perfectly. Dealing with such difficult levels in the presence of some of the most beautiful pixel levels in all of gaming is truly a message of how preoccupation with solving issues can take us out of the beauty of the moment. And the brilliant musical scores only enhance these feelings. But what I wanted to get across with this video is how beautiful the story of Celeste is and how perfect it emphasizes components on mindfulness and self-discovery. I have learned so much about myself from playing this game, and have become much more compassionate and understanding of those darker parts of my mind and anxiety. At the end of the day, you cannot outrun your reflection or your shadow. So, why not try to love it?